In 1999, a man is trapped inside a car that has plunged into the water after crashing into a bridge. His mother, who was driving, is having a seizure and he struggles to free her from her seatbelt. He eventually runs out of air and is forced to leave her behind, which leads to her death. Years later, in 2003, Paris is still traumatized by the accident, and he now works on a dam as part of a crew removing unused pipelines at Caddo Lake, where he and his mother had the accident. After work, he meets his father, Ben, to take him to the funeral service of a friend. But Paris refuses to be seen there and just drops Ben off. He goes to talk to his mother's doctor outside the hospital, wondering why his mother suddenly suffered a myoclonic seizure on the bridge that day, with a bleeding ears. But the doctor doesn't have any answers for him. When he gets home, he finds his ex-girlfriend C waiting for him. They broke up after his mother's death, but they still have feelings for each other and regret the breakup. And they still fantasize about living together in their unfinished house. Years later, in 2022, Ellie and her half-sister Anna buys some groceries for a family gathering. While they are talking, it is revealed that Ellie leaves their house because she and their mother are not in good terms. As they are traveling back to their house on a boat, Ellie teaches Anna how to drive it. After a while, they arrive home, and Anna complains about her loose tooth, and Ellie easily removes it. Later, they join a family gathering, where Anna shows them a moth she found in Caddo Lake. One of the family members mentions that this type of moth is very rare or nearly extinct, and is impressed that Anna managed to find one. Meanwhile, Ellie doesn't talk much because most of the people in the gathering are not related to her. She talks to her mother, Celeste, asking for the death certificate of her father because she needs it for school scholarship. But Celeste refuses to talk about it. Later, Ellie sneaks inside her mother's room and starts looking for her father's death certificate. The same time as Anna shows her a necklace that she found on Celeste's jewelry box and wears it. But she ignores her as she can't find anything about her father. And Celeste eventually discovers her, making her angry at Ellie, forcing Ellie leave the house. Her stepfather, Daniel, follows her, showing that he cares for her even though she is not his real daughter. However, Ellie ignores him and leaves on her boat to go to her friend's house, where she has been living for a month after she and Celeste had a fight. After a while, her boat stops in the middle of the lake, and suddenly she hears a sound echoing. At the same time, Paris, who is by the lakeside with his dog, hears the same sound as if they are echoing from one timeline to another. Ellie also sees wolves roaming in the shallow part called Found Herd, which is unusual because it is in the middle of the lake. Later that night, she shares it with her friend, but her friend dismisses it as the same unusual things that others see on the lake and attributes it to nature. In the morning, she wakes up to a call from Celeste, saying that Anna is now missing along with their boat. Ellie rushes to their house with her boat, but as soon as she arrives, she learns from Daniel that her own boat has disappeared. Meanwhile, Paris is in the lake with a coworker named Zed, continuing to remove rusting pipelines from the water. Paris decides to walk in the part of the lake where the water has receded, as their boat cannot go any further, and instructs Zed to meet him on the other side. While following the pipeline, he suddenly feels something strange and hears wolves howling in the distance. Frightened, he turns back just as he hears Zed calling his name. Paris walks toward him, but Zed claims he didn't hear any wolves and complains that their boat is stuck on something. Paris checks underneath, and among the debris in the propellers he finds resembling Anna's necklace, but he suddenly remembers something and takes it with him. After that, he immediately goes to his father's house, checks through some of his mother's belongings, and finds the same necklace. He takes it with him just as Ben arrives at his house from the hospital, but Paris doesn't pay attention to him and quickly leaves, now with two identical necklaces. Later that day, he takes C to the same part of the lake where he had felt the strange sensations, but it has disappeared. Later that night, while talking to C inside his truck, C mentions a drought in 1999 and that Paris doesn't remember. He immediately checks his records about his mother's seizures, noticing that they occurred during droughts at the lake, and theorizes that the two are somehow interconnected. However, C thinks that Paris might be losing his mind for blaming himself for the accident. Meanwhile, in 2022, the search for Anna continues, and later that night, they find Anna's boat, but she is still nowhere to be found, and Ellie notices that her life jacket is also missing. The search continues until the next morning, and Ellie asks the sheriff for permission to search the farthest part of the lake on her own, but he declines her request. After that, she goes to Celeste, and they argue about Anna, fearing they might not find her anymore. Celeste blames Ellie for leaving their house, saying that's why Anna followed her that night. Ellie then asks why she is so convinced that her father left them, and Celeste reveals that she met the woman her father had left with and attacked her when Ellie was just a baby. Ellie becomes frustrated, but sees that Anna's boat has been brought back, and she immediately gathers some of her belongings, including a picture of Anna, and uses the boat to search for her in the lake. She goes to Found Herd, and she encounters the same moth Anna had taken and hears the same echoing sound and decides to follow it. At the same time, Paris meets Ben, who now worries about him, but hears the same sound, deciding to follow it, and leaves Ben. Meanwhile, Ellie continues searching the lake at night until her boat gets stuck. She hears someone approaching and realizes it's the sheriff, who had denied her request earlier, and decides to hide from them. But as she walks, she begins to feel the same strange sensations that Paris had experienced. And suddenly, it seems as though she's been transported into a different timeline, as all the other boats searching the lake have disappeared. However, she doesn't notice this, and when she goes back to look for her boat, it is gone. She continues walking in the shallow part of the lake until morning and fortunately finds a man not far away who gives her a lift back to her house. When she gets home, she discovers Celeste on the morning Anna first went missing 3 days ago and also sees herself arriving on her boat that morning. She becomes confused about what is happening and immediately runs back outside, avoiding her other self, and gets on the boat to leave. She returns to the Found Herd, and after some time finds Anna's boat and starts calling her name, and just after a few minutes she hears Anna calling to her. She follows Anna's voice and starts running, where she experiences the same strange sensations again, revealing that they are portals to another timeline, and Ellie travels through these portals multiple times until she finds Anna on another boat. She immediately runs to her, but it is revealed that she is not the same missing Anna from her timeline, but rather the Anna who got stuck in the lake a month ago when she tried to follow her. Meanwhile, Paris is riding in his boat when he hears Ellie's voice calling for Anna and starts looking as well. As he walks, he also travels in time and finds Anna with a serious injury. He immediately carries her in search of help, and as he walks, he hears the echoing sound he has been hearing and discovers that the dam is still under construction from decades ago. There he sees men in a truck and asks them to take Anna to a hospital, where he learns that he is now in the year 1952. Confused by what is happening, he starts running back to the lake, leaving Anna in the care of the men. After a while, he takes out his notes and theorizes that a time portal appears when the lake dries up. He believes he can travel back to the time of his and his mother's accident and prevent it from happening. Meanwhile, Ellie takes Anna back to their house and confirms that she has traveled back to 1 month ago, when she and Celeste had a fight, and Celeste mistaken her for the Ellie on that timeline and tells her to leave. But before Ellie leaves the place, she is also confronted by Daniel and begs her to stop fighting with her mother, because they are family. And since this is not the same Anna who is missing from her timeline, she takes a kayak back to Found Herd to find Anna. There, she follows her own footprints on the mud and finds the time portals again. She travels multiple times following a sound from her cell phone, and eventually finds Anna's boat from her timeline that got stuck the previous night. She sees swarms of moths disappearing into the air and realizes that Anna must have followed them to a different timeline. She grabs a rope and ties it to a tree to serve as her guide back to Anna's boat. She checks to see if the rope will disappear when she travels, and when it doesn't, she begins traveling through time. Paris also arrives back at Found Herd and finds the Ellie's rope, and starts following it and time travels to 2022 on Ellie's timeline, eventually discovering Anna's boat. Their ears begin to bleed from traveling, and both of them feel a cramping sensation in their hands like a myoclonic seizures. Paris leaves with the boat while Ellie finds Anna's life jacket. As Paris drives the boat, the police approach him asking for his identification. In a panic, Paris speeds away from them and crashes. He is immediately taken to the hospital for his injuries but in cuffs, because he is now a suspect in the case of the missing Anna. Meanwhile, Ellie also finds a boat and, thinking Anna might be in that timeline, rows to the shore, where she discovers she is now in the year 2005. She starts asking people inside a nearby grocery store if anyone has seen Anna there, but no one has seen her. She goes to the parking lot and notices Anna's necklace in a truck and decides to take it. But the owner catches her, revealing it to be C, and Ellie confronts her about it. They fight for possession of the necklace, during which C accidentally scratches Ellie's face. C reveals that the necklace belongs to Paris's mother, named Anna Lang, and tells Ellie that Paris gave it to her before he went missing. In this moment, we learn that C and Celeste are the same person, and that the baby C is holding is Ellie. Ellie starts running with Paris' missing flyers and the other necklace. Eventually, she finds an internet cafe and goes inside to search for information about Anna Lang. There, she discovers that everything she was told is true and begins digging into Anna's life from 1952 onwards. At the same time, Paris is being interrogated in the hospital by the sheriff about Anna's boat, but he refuses to answer. Paris notices that it is now raining and thinks the time portals might disappear, and asks to use the restroom and manages to escape. While hiding, Paris learns from a TV news report that the girl he saved in 1952 is from that timeline, named Anna Bennett, and is in fact his mother. Meanwhile, Ellie uncovers more information about Anna, and even though finding out that Anna died on the accident on the bridge, she is glad to see her lived long enough to finish college and had a family and becomes her grandmother. This also means that Celeste is not only her mother, but also her great-grandmother, and Daniel is her great-grandfather, and Paris is Celeste's grandson. She prints a copy of Anna's photo from 1952 and immediately leaves to go back to her timeline. Meanwhile, Paris also learns that Ben is in the hospital. He immediately goes to see him, and Ben is shocked to see him again after Paris has been missing for decades. Paris then tells him everything about the lake where he saved Anna, and apologizes to his father for not being there for him. However, a nurse notices Paris and calls the police back into Ben's room, forcing Paris to jump out the window. He then runs to the road and stops a car to steal it, revealing the driver to be Daniel with Celeste. While Paris doesn't recognize her, Celeste does, and is shocked to see him. He drives back to the lake to return to his timeline before the portal disappears, but the police corner him at the bridge, and Paris jumps off. He manages to swim up even with his hands cuffed, but unfortunately the dam collapses, and a surge of water drags him down, causing him to hit his head on a rock, resulting in his death. Meanwhile, Ellie returns to the lake and follows her rope, but Anna's necklace drops. She decides to leave it behind, and it is the same one that Paris had recovered from under their boat's propeller. Ellie eventually reaches the end of the rope where she tied it, but the water begins to rise, and the rope is cut, confirming that Paris's theories about the lake's drought being connected to Anna's seizure and the time portals are correct. She begins walking, and Daniel and the others find her. After speaking with Daniel, she confirms that she is in the correct timeline. Daniel tells her about Paris's death at the bridge and that Celeste recognized him. But since Ellie can't tell him about the time travel, knowing he wouldn't believe her, she simply tells Daniel that wherever Anna is now, she is fine, and Daniel bursts into tears. Ellie returns home and finds Celeste watching a TV report about Paris. Ellie sits beside her and hands her a printed photo of Anna from 1952, where Celeste gets shocked. But when she recognizes her own scratch on Ellie's face, she realizes she has time traveled to find out the truth, and they embrace as Ellie says that Paris and Anna didn't mean to leave them. We'd love to hear your thoughts about the movie. Feel free to leave a comment below and share any details we might have missed. If you enjoyed our recap, please give it a like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more. Thank you for watching.